Hello and welcome to Let's Review Besiege with me, the Canarian. Now this is a beta review, so we need to take that into account. This is a review of Besiege. Now this is my first review, and I'm starting with a game that I did enjoy. I really did. Spent a lot of time on Besiege, over 5 hours just. But what is Besiege? It's a physics-based game where you destroy buildings and soldiers with medieval death bots that roll on wheels or fly in the air, and you make these death bots basically. And that's basically what the game is. Now, this game plays the role of a casual game well. You can lose hours in making machines just to unleash them over the course of a minute. In my Let's Play that will be coming up after this, I created an amazing thing that I loved a lot, which was a kind of like an airship thing that rose up in the air and dropped bombs. Really simple, not very clever. But yeah, it was great fun to see that destroy everything on the field. And also, thinking about the game again, it's got a calming and minimalistic art style that works very well with the audio of the game. The audio of the game is also minimalistic and calming, and it really works to make the whole situation just lull you into a sense of just that time is passing much slower than it actually is. You can just go from minute to minute, hour to hour, and just go for a strangely calm destroyer-thon that can take away your mornings, afternoons and evenings. And the special effects in the game are very good. They're very satisfying when you blow apart a castle or slaughter a troop of spearsmen. However, they aren't the main thing that is gratifying in this game, I would say. And actually sometimes, they aren't the main thing that will make you, get the satisfaction that you want from a game, or the fun, really. The gameplay is fun, though, of course. While most levels aren't majorly challenging, they range from moderately difficult at most to easy. There is challenge to it, though. More of a challenge, though, of getting your machine to work, really, than the actual levels. I often found that I was tearing mine, machines half the time into 1,000 pieces. And it's achievement simply to get something that will leave the starting block alive, really. But how does this game play? You start off with a single base block, and you build off of that. You can build crazily complex things, and I've seen a variety of things, including one which was modelled after a StarCraft siege tank that could deploy and fire, and that was awesome, that was. And I think it just really shows the range of things you can build if you've got the imagination, and obviously the intelligence to do it. However, if you're more like me, you can have a lot of fun creating a crazy contraption with the only forethought being, I hope this works. And be incredibly satisfied when one of your ideas does actually work. And that's the main thing about this game. You get your satisfaction from the creation of crazy contraptions that actually manage to work. You're just sitting there kind of like, oh my god, that thing that I made that I didn't even expect to, manage to kill one thing, managed to somehow complete the entire level for me within a second. And so you do that, and you build it, and you unleash it on whatever task you have ahead of you. It's a simple premise, and the actual method of achieving it can be as complex as you want it to be. Now, let's look at the bad. There's one or two very, very frustrating levels, and it's kind of awkward and odd because a lot of the game, as I say, it's moderate to easy difficulty, and then you get suddenly hit with these ones which are a little bit more difficult. I think they were difficult because they kind of had a limited way of achieving the task. But maybe that's what the people who created it wanted to happen, but I felt it detracted from the game. And then on the levels, there are very few of them at the moment also. There's a lot of replayability in creating new machines to try and defeat levels in different ways, but that's limited by your imagination. That varies from person to person, and so you can't really say there's a lot of replayability if you don't know what kind of people are playing it. I guess that's for you to make your mind up on. But the big bad, the thing that really annoyed me, is the camera in the game. The biggest issue I have with the game is the camera, and I haven't really managed to work out how the camera works, but it seems to work via a method of following the centre of mass of the machine you make. However, sometimes this theory seems wrong. It really distracts from the positives of the game, the camera does, and it can make it really bad and even unplayable sometimes, which should never be the case. And you would have thought the camera would be more intelligent in its design, considering how the rest of the game is. Thing is that this isn't even a major problem. I can play 9 out of 10 levels and not have an issue with the camera, and I'm talking about a minor or a major issue. You know, one where it's kind of a little bit off, or one where it's majorly off. You know, it's more likely to be minorly off, but I can play through 9 out of 10 levels without that. And so much about this game is good and fun, but that's why it really bugs me, I think, because it seems so good to be almost let down by this one aspect, the camera. Now, the verdict on this game, my verdict, well, the main positives would be that it's satisfying to succeed and you can have an endless amount of possibilities for what you can create. The negatives would be the camera, please fix it, it's absolutely horrible. And the current lack of content finished, yeah, I finished in under 5 hours, I did. So, yeah, that's the situation there. I mean, it might be different for you, obviously. I did struggle a bit, so it could be even less. But I'd give a rating of 6 out of 10. For me, 8 and above are reserved for those most glorious of games that, you know, really do stick in your mind, while 6 or 7 is for those games that aren't the kind of games that you'll think, oh, remember that game in 5 years' time? But they're good games, nevertheless. Now, would I recommend this? Yes, I would, but not at its current price, which is £5 in the UK. Despite how low that is, I don't feel it's worth it when you consider the hours of entertainment to pounds paid ratio. Now, what I feel is good value is 2 hours to the pound, basically, so that would be 10 hours if you paid the full current price for a beta game, let's remember also. But with this game, at the most, you got, you know, I got 1 hour to the pound, and that's not good enough in my opinion. And I don't think the game is good enough to merit breaking the rule there. Also, remember, this is an early access game. Hopefully they'll finish it, but if they don't, then if you buy this game, you might be left with an incomplete product. Keep that in mind when you're considering whether to buy games like this. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, leave a like or a comment. Share, because it really does help out the channel. And subscribe if you want to see more, including the Besiege gameplay that I've got coming up later. And I'll see you in the next episode.